Hi there, welcome at the Beyond Interior Design podcast. I'm Mark Miskis, your host for today, and thank you very much for connecting with us. It's my goal to make it impossible for you to design the way you did before you knew this podcast. So, great you're here. Together with Sven van Buren, we're running our own interior design firm, but we're the founders of the Institute of Interior Impact too. And this is where we love to connect and empower ambitious interior design professionals like you. And look, the world around us is changing rapidly. We know that, but our profession doesn't. And it's about time it does. As creators of beautiful things, we owe it to ourselves and the rest of the world to do the right thing. Because only together, we have the power to design this world. And our guest for today is Lorena Gaxiola. Her services go well beyond interior design and styling, and that's why we've invited her for our podcast. Lorena is an award-winning, internationally acclaimed design expert with more than 25 years experience in the business of property. She's originally from Mexico, established a successful business in the United States, and later expanding her business into Australasia. For Lorena Gaxiola, interior design isn't just about creating rooms that look good. It's about getting into the minds of buyers and giving them what they want. She creates spaces people actually want to live in. And here she is, live from Sydney. Let's see if she's willing to reveal some of her design secrets. Lorena Gaxiola.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, great.
Great introduction. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I did my job. I did my work. Well, I know you are a really busy woman, so thank you very much for being here. And congratulations, because you were winning the Sydney Design Awards 2022 for a Better Future Living Gold. Is it?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
very exciting.
Yeah, you can be very proud of it. Tell me more about these awards.
Well, the awards really celebrate design in many aspects. It is geared towards creatives really providing a better future for the community, whether it is in interiors and architecture and graphics and signage and anything that, it can be transportation and anything. People that are really pushing forward a better future are awarded with such a nomination, and we were lucky enough to be the winners this year.
Yeah,
for residential. Thank you.
Yeah, great. I saw the project, and we will place a link on our website with the project you were winning with. So it's lovely. It's really high end residential design.
It is high end, but it's affordable luxury. So in the area where that project was awarded is an up and coming future CBD. The Central Business District is outside of the city of Sydney, but it's an emerging hub, and it's really very culturally diverse. And we deliver a building that was over 40 stories tall. It's hosting about 1,000 residents in that building, and it took nearly 6 years to complete from concept to delivery. The very first one in this part of the world to have a robotic car park system. So the entire building is just really well suited to last 100 years and stay there and have a long life from the common areas and the residentials. Everything is just really well designed for its residents to be able to have an entry price point into the luxury sector.
Oh, great. Yeah, I read about it. The robotic car parking system. I was like, okay, it sounds really high end, but now it's affordable for people in other segments as well. Yeah, love it. You are in the business of property. It's about bricks and buildings for some people, for real estate people, for investors, for developments. It's all about getting their money return on investment. You are in the business of buying and selling dreams, is it? What is?
Absolutely. A home is a shelter. Yeah, exactly. A home is a shelter, and it's where people feel safe. It's people's biggest investment in their lives. It is also the one way for people to build wealth. So I think it's completely underestimated how personal it is for the purchaser. And we really tried to bring that personal attention to everything that we design at my company.
I really do like the personal touch, because I can imagine when you have a block with this 40, 50, 60 of 100 apartments, how do you make diversity in it, or that you feel it, that it's meant for you, this apartment? How do you put that feeling?
No, and that's a great question, because not only do we need to deliver to the market the needs, but we also need to deliver a project that is on time and on budget. We need to ensure that we are selecting products and materials that that the builder can purchase at large quantities and install, and have great quality control and attention to detail during the installation process, as well as performing for the developers in order for them to have enough marketing materials for them to have a successful sales pitch and a successful product to sell. So it really is it's a holistic process that we are involved from the very beginning. People often think that interior designers get involved at the very end, once all the architecture and everything is in place, but smart developers involve us from the very beginning, because you will understand the fact that we are taught in school to design for the end user, and we are not just creating the built environment, but we are creating how people live in the built environment. So developers that listen to us early in the process truly deliver a better product at the end, because we start thinking, and it can be as simple as, you know, what's the size of your lift, and can a sofa fit in that lift? You know, we really come from even the basics. You know, can you turn that on that space plan on, you know, for over 400 units? So we really have to review the space planning in each one of the units to understand how people are going to be moving into the building and living in the particular space and maximizing a quality of life. And in this case, we were involved and the fact that it's 400 plus units, we also had to take into consideration the fact that we're delivering studios at an entry-level price point, but we're also delivering a penthouse on the 46th level in this beautiful tower that we're calling it a sky home. And we didn't really want to feel like the studio person was buying an entry-level product, but we also didn't want to deliver the penthouse on something that they feel like, you know, it wasn't compared to the entire building. So the developers were really strategic at the way that they briefed us on the project. We created various upgrades under the same base of design, and we ended up having, I think, about 9 different variations on the particular scheme, so that people will be able to have an accessible price point to the particular unit that they were going to be able to purchase in.
Yeah, and so it will definitely fit different lifestyles too.
And absolutely, we have to also keep an approach that was going to give the builders and the developers a comfort level in the maintenance and the warranties that they were going to pass on to people, because here in Australia you have to offer, I think, about 10 years guarantee on everything, but also a neutral palette enough that people can bring their personality. But then you also have to think of the next layer on giving them architecture that they don't feel like they need to renovate or change, but they just add on with their furniture. So it is definitely strategic, and people underestimate. They think, like you said, it's just brick and paint, and it's a lot of thought and process that goes through it, and it's in collaboration, very deep collaboration between the real estate agents, the property developers, the property managers, the builders, the architects. It is definitely always participation amongst many of our expertise.
You're talking we are just starting in a few minutes, but you are just revealing all the stuff beyond the interior design part, because the design part is maybe a few percent actually. That's not what we want to hear actually, but I know it from this project. You said it took, well, you started in 2017 with this
in this project. Yes, we did. We actually started, I think, in late 2016, and people started moving in just at the end of last year. And I mean, it's such an enormous project, and it was, you know, 300 million to build it and deliver. Was built in the middle of COVID. Australia had very strict rules in COVID, and we had, you know, very extreme lockdowns. We had a very tough time with labor force. So, I mean, really, this building was thrown with so many bricks and bad luck and every single angle. And I know I was there for a photo shoot, and I saw the very first residents moving in, and I was just like, So excited because I've never seen that. I usually am out once it's delivered.
Oh
and
yeah,
to see
yeah.
them move in with, you know, their furniture and everything. And I met them and I shook their hand and I was able to say, I designed your apartment. It just brought me so much happiness.
Ah, cool. Yeah, it sounds like you are doing a television show and then you have the cameras on it. That's what I want.
I wish. But you know what? The best things happen when nobody's watching, to be honest.
Yeah. True. Yeah, but I'm always curious when you're gone as an interior designer and people are just sitting on the sofa with their partner, and then what do they say to each other? How do they feel in that moment? That's what we can never see that moment, even on television, because it's so private. But you were in the middle of this moment, this excitement of having your key.
Yeah, absolutely. It was absolutely an honor to see them so excited to, you know, turn that key into their apartment.
Yeah, I think one of your secrets, because it had the art of the art of interior design beyond interior design is like you're taking care so much about this end feeling or experience of the consumer or buyer or end user. Well, it doesn't sound human, end user. I hate the word actually. Do you have another word for that? Because it's
the residents, the winners of, you know, the risk takers, really, because it's such a risk right now to buy into property and put all your savings, and, you know, with interest rates and just everything that's happening in the market, people are really afraid. And for people that are taking that plunge, and, you know, obviously there's so much uncertainty with employment and income and things like that, but it's important to, you know, build wealth. And yes, it sounds like an end user, because at the end of the day, we are in business. Yeah, everybody's in business, you know, and we call it an end user because it's not a consumer, you know, consumer repeats purchase. This is just a person that is going to end up utilizing the space at the end, right? So it's just catered to them always, and there's no two projects are alike, no two areas are alike, just because it's a combination of the team that delivers something unique.
Yeah, great. So how do you start a project like that? How do you start with your story? Because as interior designers, we are almost designing from inside out. A lot of architects are doing it. Some architects start from the outside because they take the environment or whatever. How do you start something like that?
Every project is different. I mean, I am kind of like, what I've been told is I'm very unique because I come from a very strong commercial mindset. I know you and I've had like chats apart from this podcast, but I come from a family of builders and architects. So I grew up around here, around the business. I listened to it. I listened to my father design, sketch, negotiate, build, deliver. My brother is in the same business. My husband is in the same business. So I live and breathe this industry. So for me, I definitely bring that creativity, but I also understand that it's a business. And so I like to receive information. I try to really extract a lot of information from my clients about the scope, about the market. Not only is that just what the client suggests, I definitely like to listen to the real estate experts as well in their direction where they see the market, because we're designing 5 years ahead, right? So whatever we're designing today will be delivered in 5 years. So we need to be ahead of the trends, and we need to deliver something that is going to defy the trends as well. So it's doing educated research. I have an amazing group of very creative women that I'm sure we're going to talk about them later, but you know, they're my core, and you know, they bring expertise in market research, and we really just come up with a strategic angle so that we always offer a point of differentiation for our clients.
Yeah, and these are the keys for knowing what kind of materials, colors, products you're using, right? It's just a kind of...
It does. I mean, we look at, I mean, I think what is fair is that we look at the competitors. So we look at the existing market, the area, the location. We study the demographics in the location. I think one of the biggest mistakes happening is when people just say, this is trendy, this is what looks good, everybody wants this particular look, and they deliver the same product in neighborhood A and in neighborhood B. Another common mistake that I see, and again, this is just my opinion because good and bad design is in the eye of the beholder. But another common mistake that I see is that they think that an entry-level price point needs to look like luxury, but in an entry-level look. And that's not the case. I think you can still deliver high design on an entry-level price point that doesn't necessarily looks like marble and brass and something that, it's out of the Ritz-Carlton. I think that's unachievable, and it's a disservice to the end user. Again, going back onto that word. So we really try to be very strategic. We review, like I said, the competitors, and not so much for a client to stand out, but it's also to offer options and a point of differentiation to the end users, because the residents and the purchasers, they have options to go and see. I mean, they're shopping around. So why would we give them the same product, right? You don't go to the same store to buy a white shirt. So we try to just create another opportunity to inspire. So for those that are not necessarily fitting within those boxes, we create a new box for them.
Yeah, great. So what is going on in the housing market? You're talking about global trends. You have to design 5 years ahead. What's your vision for the future of real estate, of housing, of living?
I mean, what can I say? It's an essential item. I was just at the Forbes Australia launch. They had an event here in Sydney, and it was a fantastic event with a fantastic panel. They did a great job. And just listening to the people, the economists and all the people that were in the panel, is Australia is a very fortunate country. I mean, it's just the regulations and the government really looks after their people, and it has really been very resilient towards the COVID recession, and we haven't entered recession. So it's still a safe place to purchase. We just opened the borders, a lot of immigration that is going to be coming through Australia as well. So there's definitely a huge boom in the housing market. Prices are, what can I say? Everybody has an opinion. Some people are saying it's strong. Some people are saying it's weak. And it's at the end of the day, everybody needs a home, and everybody's moving up, and people in reality are, in the past 25 years, people buy homes. They have a 5 cycle in a home. You buy your first home, then, if you're a single person, that's your first investment, barely have money to, purchase this home. So you don't care for any upgrades. You just want to go in and try to create an asset that in 7 years, you'll be able to extract some equity out of it, to then buy a home that has a little bit more luxuries, right? By then, I like to cook, I like to do this. You have a little bit more knowledge on your lifestyle, or your family is starting to grow, if you have a family. Then you go through the third cycle, which is, you're more professional, you have a different living. Either you have an investment property or a vacation home, or you actually step it up and then you create more of a luxury product. So you go like that. I mean, and obviously, 50% of the population get divorced. So there's a breakup, and then they have to find another home. And then you have, the downsizers, and then you have the retirement facility. So I think what people need to really plan, and I hope that developers really take this into consideration, because in America, they definitely do. They really tried that angle to create customer service to provide repeat business. So I did see that a lot in America, how people purchase on the brand of the developer and the builder, and not so much on the product. This is blue and this is pretty. It's just, I know this is quality. I bought my first home with them. I will buy my second home with them. And they definitely have initiatives to promote that repeat business. I'm new to this country. Maybe I'm just coming from a place of ignorance, but I really haven't been briefed in that and saying, this is a person that is purchasing from us the second or the third time. And I think that, there's an opportunity that we should tap into, which is that loyalty program, I guess.
Yeah.
That's where it really needs to head, really target to that, the loyalty program.
Yeah. It's with interior design. We have some clients. The best thing to design an interior is that it is really sustainable. The best reviews we get is like, oh, we're living already 10 years in your house, in your interior design, and we still love it every day. It's still functional. We still like it. It's still us. It works. We can grow with our family in here. It's the best review you can get, actually. best compliment. But in the other way, that will, if you talk about business wise, I know some interior design architects, they are every year, every 2 years, they gonna demolish their own design for the next new shiny object in interior design. It's well, I'm like, why is that? Huh? Why is that?
I mean, there's always that bit of an ego, right? That that people want to create something that is curated to them in particular, and it definitely falls more in the luxury sector, and I think there is a place for that, and this is why I reiterate the fact that the luxury sector is a completely different sector than the entry level sector, and it's not to put down entry level, it's just two completely different markets. So you got to give them what they're asking, and in luxury, when they have so much money where money is no object, well, there's definitely a market for that. There's definitely the team of design and architects that are very well suited to deliver that product, and as long as they do it responsibly, which regulations become stricter and stricter, so that we can be a little bit more conscious about the effects, because construction, it is one of the biggest contributors to global warming and waste. So if we can be mindful of that, everybody should be able to get whatever they want.
I like that. And what about this health, and well, we're talking about sustainability too, but this health and this wellness thing, wellness mindset, how is that going into your designs? Because people are so busy with it nowadays.
Yes, and I think it's it's another one that I know many of my fellow designers, when we discuss trends, or when we go to shows and we get to know new product, or we meet with reps that are bringing new products to the market, they really educate us in the benefits that the end user can receive by going with a particular product. But there's still, we're still working in a very conservative market. Property and development is conservative no matter what. So people still need to test and try before it really creates a change in the bigger picture. But there's definitely amazing products out there that are not just sustainable in the environmental sector, but they're also socially responsible in the way that they manufacture. And I think that's contributing to that health and wellness. But it's also contamination, not just on landfill, but also contamination on the items that we are absorbing, whether it's paint or glue or the way that materials are produced, that in the long run, it really can affect our health. It's not that just one particular floor is going to kill you, but it's just making little changes that will definitely benefit the health and wellness. And I think that's, you have to think about mind, body, and spirit in that. But I think people right now are just saying, let's give people rooftops so they can exercise on the roof after COVID, and they can do yoga, or we'll give them a pool, or we give them a gym. But I like to go in and say, why can't we just put a new filtering system so that we remove all the chemicals out of the water, right? Or why can we just have, 2 garbage chute in your building so that one goes to recycle and the other one goes to, there's still a few things that, it can be one idea, but I understand that it requires a lot of planning and preparation, that at times it delays the project, and then it's better to move forward. But trust me that my fellow designers, architects, that we have this knowledge, we have this, and we do put it in front of people, and whether people accept it, take it, and move forward, it's completely out of our control, but we are there for the community to know that we are pushing sustainable products out there.
Wow, we love it. I read some of this information on your website when I did my research, but now I could feel it when we first met in the Zoom meeting. But so I think people can definitely see why you're in why you want the Better Future Award, because there are so many aspects. You're just showing, a lot of interior designers just showing these beautiful pictures, this Instagrammable pictures, like look at my design, how beautiful it is, and your attention goes to the details, or the color scheme, or the materials, or whatever. But I always want to know, why is this such a good design? That's what was so interesting about your story.
Good design, I like to say, is what you don't see. It's completely what you don't see, and it doesn't show in the pictures. It's about quality, and it's about what just functions. I mean, good design is almost like your body, right? You don't need to feel your arms for them to be useful. But if you don't have arms, you know, something doesn't function perfectly. And I think that's what good design is all about. If people can really move through a space and function effortlessly, then the design is great.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, we're looking at that. We're talking about this move ups, people that want to grow with their family, literally with their square meters. They want to have a bigger house, but there's also another movement that is going on for actually quite a few years already. It's the tiny home movement, the downsizers.
Mm-hmm.
Do you meet those people? What's the story of yeah?
Affordability. It's affordability. I think a lot of people are very conscious as well about not needing a law, and consumerism is definitely, I mean, just people are, I'm very excited about this, the industry shifting, because when I started working, it was in the late 90s and it was just everything. I remember being briefed, like, I want my house to look like a Tuscan villa. And I'm like, you're in California, you know, it was very almost like, the aspiration was next level, right? Like it was the Ralph Lauren's and it was just, you know, Spanish villas, or, I mean, it was just very aspirational. And I think right now it's very real. And I think we're taking cues from the younger generation that are saying, yep, you know what, I'm okay to reuse. I'm already, you know, they're setting new trends, and it's really letting us, the dinosaurs, kind of like, it's giving us a point of creativity again to learn something new, to see the changes in the market. And I think the tiny house movement, it's a combination of affordability, it's a combination of consciousness, and it's a combination of trend as well. But people like to travel. People are putting their efforts into a quality of life, and they're saying, I need less, but I want to live more. And, yep, and it's not for everyone, but it's definitely a trend that is here to stay. As a matter of fact, we have a sessions called Ask LG, where we give a platform to students to contact me, and I give them 15-30 minutes, and you know, they can ask me any question about you know, entering the design industry. And today I had an exchange of emails with a high schooler that is designing something for a tiny home. So that's interesting that you brought that up, because I'm excited to have a chat to him tomorrow and see his perspective. You know? Yeah,
if you see the perspective of all these, well, let's call them the millennials. If they can design the world, they do something different. I'm really well, I'm always heading next week. I'm getting 39, so I'm feeling like, okay, well, then I was 20 when I was studying, and I had so many rebellious ideas and new ideas, and this needs to be the world. Well, eventually, 20 years later, we have Institute of Interior Impact, so the path was already a bit designed for that. But yeah, we had a Dutch Design Week in the autumn a few weeks ago. A Dutch Design Week in Eindhoven. It's a big event. The whole world is watching at it. It's kind of a Milan thing. But the newspapers were writing about that there was nothing new. There were no innovations. The story was again about sustainability, durability, whatever. And that was, they brought it up like what was some kind of bad news. They didn't know what to write about, because it all had to do with minor shifts in the design processes, in looking at it at stuff with another perspective, another view, to create a better future, to create a better world.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're seeing under a microscope. I mean, interior design is no different than an influencing, or, you know, if you look at an influencer, right? If it's makeup and how to put your makeup on, or how to dress, or the Kardashians, or trends and things like that. And interior design is seeing this, it's the same. I do think that we need to normalize it a little bit. I think we need to be a little bit more realistic on how people live, and show people that, you know, your home doesn't need to be absolutely perfect, and the cushions don't need to be matchy or anything. That, you know, show real homes for real people. I think there's definitely a point of showing that aspiration and editorial. But I know when I go to photo shoots at private residences, and we clean the kitchens, and everything is on the floor.
Yep.
People don't live like that. People don't live like the pictures. Don't. Nope. Not at all. And I mean, we don't need to show the mess on a rendering or CGI. It is ideal, but I do think that we need to show real furniture, real comfortable furniture, how people envision themselves, because It's very expensive now to set up display homes. It's very expensive, and we can save that money from developers. They can put that money back on the property as well and give more to the purchasers. So the more that we can create computer generated images with realistic furniture, that it's not just show them that they can fit 20 people, with enough chairs and everything, instead of 5 very well placed chairs
for a birthday party.
Or try to tie it with local products that they can buy in the market, so people can say, oh, I can buy that sofa at this store, it looks just like the one in this store, and just already give them a guide on how they can furnish it themselves just like the picture.
The digital revolution is very important definitely in real estate, because it's not built yet and you want to sell your designs.
Absolutely. But it's an art, and people think that is, people just, and I definitely think that people with good taste can do a phenomenal job decorating and putting items together, and it's just like a great stylist. And I don't think to have a beautiful design home, you need to be a professional, be your profession and go through a 4-year university degree. But the ones that we do go through that, we are taught the psychology of how people utilize spaces, and that's what differentiates our practice to those who have great taste and are able to deliver beautiful aesthetic. But for us, is how the space is being utilized. It's how the appliances are placed. It's very strategic how a kitchen is designed. We think about, where are the pots and pans going to go? We're not thinking, that should be a white kitchen. Like it's almost like the last thing that we select is the color of the kitchen. What we are thinking first and foremost is, what is the storage, and where is the pantry, and where's the washing machine, and how are people utilizing the space?
We have a huge checklist for only kitchen design, and we have one for a toilet and bathroom. For every room, every activity, we have a huge checklist. Even the washing room, we did so many laundry rooms the last few years, because this is a process everybody hates to do it. So they said, don't pay attention to the laundry room, it's not important. I hate to do washes. But they said, let's twist the idea of, well, let's see that you would like to go there to do the washes, to do the laundry, and like, sure, I hate the laundry. I'm going to hate it in future too. But if you can switch that, if you design a perfect laundry room, and this whole process and activity will just take you a few minutes to change the washing, to the laundry, to the dryer, and have it organized really well, it's just, it takes you maybe, let's say 30 minutes a week in your full lifestyle, in your busy lifestyle, and you can enjoy the other things. And that's so great about good interior design, but that's not the story. That's not sexy. It's not fashion to talk about a laundry room. Maybe when you use really cool materials, you can put it on Instagram, but for the rest, it's like, okay.
You know what is really funny? Because one of the most popular rooms in a home is the powder room.
The powder room.
People never think about that. It is the one room that everyone that comes and visits you will experience. So if you want to show someone, like, people spend money in their bedrooms, for example, like, they won't see their bedrooms, right? Like, you get to enjoy it yourself, it's totally fine. But if you want to impress people, put the money in the powder room. Everyone's gonna go and enjoy it for a few minutes and take it all in. And sometimes it's just the last thought, right? Just put walls, because it's not a wet area, so they don't think about it. But it's the most utilized space. Also, your bathroom, the ensuite, it's the most utilized space as well, even more than the kitchen. You spend more time in that bathroom than ever. And people underestimate the need for good lighting. Women do their makeup there. Women do their hair there. Where are we putting all our products? So people underestimate the need for really, really good storage in a bathroom, towels, toilet paper. I mean, and it sounds so, whatever is the basics. You can buy a basket and you can put stuff there. But if you don't have to, then that is good design. If you don't have to buy baskets and gadgets and stuff like that, because you want things to be in order, I think it's always an afterthought, and they put all the bells and whistles and, the brand of the appliance. No, go back and design it the right way for people.
I learned, I did in the around 2010, I did a lot of real estate staging, model housing. It was just coming from America. It was quite new in the Netherlands to stage a house. You never buy a house inclusive with interior, with furniture. It's always empty. So there was a complete new world. But then the women, female gender learned me a lot about housing, because they're kind of, actually at the end, they are the buyers, the women. They were looking at these powder rooms and how can they live there? How do you use this? And how can they dress up? The mirrors, when you talk about the lighting, it was really impressive world. And I think it was at that time, one of my secrets is to design for women in this model housing stuff.
It's actually, we did some research, because also when we are creating our computer generated images, I know we were doing some research, and over 85% of click-throughs online for real estate are done by women. And
80?
women are involved in every single cycle, even when their children buy property, right? So it's not so much the design for women by women, but we just have, I mean, I know with my husband, if you give us the task at loading the groceries in the car, we can go to IKEA and buy a lot of boxes. I will do a better job at organizing, loading the car than he would. There's something about the way that our brain is put together that people say women were not logical. We are very logical, actually, in the sense that we just need like resolve things. I think we're just people that, I mean, and I'm generalizing maybe because I'm biased and I'm a woman, but I just tend to just try to just be very like problem solver, just I only want to do it once, and that's it. And I know what I want and how I want it. And I know for my luxury residential clients, they come to me and they always hire this amazing architects. And I love working with them, because they even the architects say to me, Lorena, I just can't get through this laundry room. And it sounds like the laundry room, right? They hire me for the laundry room, but my clients, which are the women, they come to me and they said, I love my architect and he's such an artist and my home is beautiful, but I don't want to insult him because he's done it 3 times. But Lorena, now I need you. I need my kitchen and my laundry. And then we end up moving everything. Best friends with the architect. We collaborate greatly. I make sure that I respect, their vision, tie my vision to their vision. I can design at any, style. And if my client wants French country, I will design French country for them. Like, not everything needs to be modern. So I work really well with architects. And then once we have a winning design, it's just such a pleasure and such a relief, because to see how our practices really complement each other is just a fantastic thing to experience.
Yeah, I know from the walk-in closet, some people, if I ask them, why did you move houses? Why did you buy that other house? Because of the walk-in closet, they told me. And when I was presenting, I did some days for real estate people, that I was a kind of host for in that model housing. I was presenting my own interior design, but then they said, no, I'm not going to buy that house. My closet won't fit in. There was just one reason to not buy that great apartment with park view, sky view, whatever, skylight, everything was perfect. Yeah, no, it didn't fit their walk-in closet. I was like, okay, if this is the real world, I need to take care about walk-in closets and powder rooms. Yeah, like it. Yeah. So what's in your eyes the most important role of an interior designer if you're working in the real estate property design?
I think we need to listen to the market. I think we need to voice our opinion from a research-based perspective, not just on a personal opinion. I think we always need to stay close to the core that, we are providing a service, and it's not just a service of style, but also a service of delivering a product for a dream, an investment, and it's something very real, and it's very important, it's very significant. And I think if we always stay connected to the core purpose of our point of service, that really needs to remain our role. Because creativity, I mean, I see designs all the time. I love designs that every designer makes. I think if you go to school, you have good taste. It's just, design is beautiful, but make sure that you deliver for what people are asking for and what they want: the walk-in robes, the powder bathroom, the right laundry, the right kitchen, and step away from, the wind and the view. I mean, the view is great, right? But sometimes you just design based on that. It's like, okay, you put the sofa and you look at the window. It's like, where's your TV?
Yeah.
I know there's a view, but
Yeah.
then it's nighttime and you don't see the view. So where's your TV, right? So it's just a little bit of just really think about how people live, how people move in a space. And I think that's really what we need to do.
Yeah, great. So how do you well, what's a common mistake interior designers are doing in real estate? Because I know I was talking with this
Nothing,
mostly.
we're perfect. No. No, you know what? I don't think it's a common.
What's your biggest
say it's a
mistake then?
I think we need to stop copying each other. I think everybody can I think it's great to celebrate great design and great aesthetic, but like right now in Sydney, if I see one more arch, everybody just has, kind of like that arch and white and beachy and boho and tone on tone. And I think it's great, but it's like, maybe let's just leave that for the person that came up with it, and maybe we like as a whole item, even though your client's like, I love that look, you can be like, okay, but let me just put my sense into it. Let me give you a new arch. And I think we just need to provide more choice, because then it starts becoming stale and then it dates really quickly. It's really hard to stand out. It's really hard to give people options. And I just think if we can celebrate each other by respecting our point of differentiation as creatives, I think that's something that I wish we could do a little bit more, and draw inspiration from different areas, draw inspiration from art, from nature, from a color scheme, it can be anything. Let's not just draw inspiration on what somebody else did.
Yeah, I definitely like that. Yeah, I like that. I like to have the creative freedom to design whatever you want and not designing for magazines or the next trend, or it's like it's never. We have some projects it's not portfolio worth it, because if you see the pictures, it's outdated, or you have no clue when it's created. But people, if they give you 5 stars, it's an A+ for their desired lifestyle. You design exactly the right thing, but again, the story behind that's the design and not the end result or this material palettes or whatever. Yeah, if they don't like the next new color, why should I use the best new color?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just have a reason for your ideas, basically, beyond your ego, I guess.
Yeah, that's why we say form follows meaning. And if you take it to a really individual level, that's exactly what you need to create. Form follows meaning. If they care about watching television the whole day, just design the house for television, for watching the whole day. Put a fridge behind the sofa if they like that. But if they're really those healthy persons and they really want to, I don't know. Some people are checking their emails in the morning till 11:30, 12 in the morning, and they're really businessmen, but they're checking the emails. Why should they go downstairs for their breakfast? Please design a kitchenette in the bedroom, even when it looks absurd or crazy. Do it. If people are hanging their coat always over the dining chair and in the kitchen, somebody's complaining in the family about always hanging that coat over there. Design a closet in the back of the chair where he or she can put her work office bag. It's her closet, and she's always with the jacket on, entering the building. So fix it, solve that.
I think people like to be heard, and I think that's what we see a huge trend in social media, that people, these brands that emerge and the influencers that, they work out and they have this workout gear and all of that. And I'm just taking from that Forbes conference that was here on Friday. It's true. I think one of the reasons why social media became and these influencers became so popular is because when they were speaking to their market, they felt heard. And that's what I took from the conferences on Friday. But I think as influencers in design and interiors and architecture, the purchasers want to be heard as well. And that's basically what you're saying. We need to just stop just saying, this looks great on my portfolio, and thinking more about, okay, doesn't need to go to my portfolio. Let's put that closet behind the dining table, and that's okay. Let's flip the camera and take another photo.
And hey, we're the designers, so if it's a shame if you can't make it look good. That's what I think. If you have an ugly object or you don't like this couch or this material, make it look good. That's our knowledge. That's our expertise, right? That's the job. Yeah. So what's I want to end this this podcast with I'm really curious. What is it that you want to achieve in the next few years? What's your next move? What's on your bucket list?
I am a very passionate person about mentoring the next generation of designers. I'm very excited to work with a very dynamic group of very talented, creative women with expertise in different fields, from marketing, graphics, illustration, architecture, design, and in every angle. And I see how they see the world, and I'm excited to pass on the baton to them, and hope that I can organize my company to hand it over in a silver platter and let them take it to where it needs to go for another 30 years. I'm very excited about that, how I structure that. So there's a path of business ownership, entrepreneurial ownership, to female creatives designing in property, and give them a platform to really shine and be more than a number in an architectural firm or an interior design firm, and just really feel like they own their brand, their essence, their personality into it. It is a business. So, I still need to coach them into that. It's going to take a little bit of time to kind of get that comfort level in the market. We're handling big responsibility, big investments from our clients. But that's really what I'm focusing, as well as maintaining my team boutique. I've always managed a team under 11 staff, and that's because it's allowed me to pivot my career, to reinvent, to move with the market and where it's heading. And right now we have some amazing hopes and dreams of what we want to do. Want to see if we can turn this into a tech company, and it's really coming from the young talent in my company that they're giving me ideas on how they want to do this. And I'm thinking, all right, let's try it. But there's some exciting plans that I don't want to reveal just yet, and we'll announce it next year, little by little. As far as what we want to make an impact on options for employment. We want to make an impact on technology and giving people access to design in more artificial intelligence. We want to give people options of becoming incorporated and becoming business owners and having a bigger voice in the property industry.
Ooh, and the tool is just interior design and architecture. And
we also do branding and graphics, and we do a lot more than that. I purposely, and this just happened in the last 3 years, decided not to grow my company vertically and growing just in interiors and in architecture, and instead expanding horizontally and adding a lot more of a one-stop shop to allow our property developers to come to us and tie branding, signage, interiors, architecture, everything under one roof.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, great world we have, eh? Great job, profession, is it?
Thank you.
We can design the world, actually.
One project at a time.
Yeah, but that's what we do all together as designers. We have a great big responsibility for designing our own environment, our future. We can shape it. We are in the middle of a kind of chain with the suppliers and the clients. We're in the middle of it, so we have way more influence than we think we have. We're not just this fashion designers.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So wow, great. Let's join forces. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what you're doing. And well, if we can help you on that with the institute, please join us in the ring to fight the future, to design this together. Love it. Yeah,
definitely. No, I'm open to collaboration, and I appreciate you reaching out to us and wanting to hear from our side of the world. And this is what is going to move us forward, is to really share how to create better design, better future. And like you said, together, let's push it forward and leave it better for the next generation.
Thank you. All right, before we go to the Q&A with the people that are joining us live, I would like to thank you for listening to another episode of Beyond Interior Design podcast. And if you want more, we do. Me and my team are looking forward to make many more episodes with inspiring guests. So, and you can support us How? By rating the podcast, of course. This is how internet works. This way you help us to reach even more creatives worldwide. Oh, thank you very much, Lorena.
You're welcome.
Yeah. The next Beyond Interior Design live, it's planned on the 14th of December. And well, everyday potential clients are looking for someone to help them with designing the new home, the new office, the restaurant, the hotel. But what's the reason they choose you? And how are you standing out in the service you provide? And we all know it's a big challenge to stand out. We were just talking about it, how to stand out in property design, in interior design. So in the next Beyond Interior Design Live, we have experiential consultant, Victoria Taylor, to share her experience with us. Victoria travels the world, visiting the most beautiful destinations, consulting hospitality and travel brands on how to create the extraordinary in an increasing experience-led world. She knows how to design moments, one moment at a time. So if you want to join us, register your seat and save the date, December 14th. It's probably the last live show of 2022.